Sean, I think we should start now.
Yep, go ahead.
Sean and Dean, if you can confirm that you can see the BoardWalk slides.
We can see it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Shaminda Pereira. I'm the manager of Learning and Resource Development for Volunteer MBC. From our organization, I'm joined today with two of my colleagues. Leading from the community engagement front is my colleague Shah Nabasi, and leading the fund development front is my colleague Nadine Melrose. Today is about introducing a program, but also not just mentioning about the program, also how the program came to be and why we feel the program is essential in the community today. For those of you who may not know Volunteer MBC, the organization, we will have an introduction coming up. We would like to begin the entire presentation by acknowledging that the land on which we work, that we know as Peel, is part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our deepest respect to its first inhabitants. A little bit about Volunteer MBC. We are the volunteer center serving Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon. We have 4 core services in the community amongst the many programs and services that we bring to you. The service that we are most known for in the general population is our referral service, where we will help connect anyone who's looking to volunteer with a volunteer position that exists at our member organizations. So the referral service is offered free to the residents, but to the member organizations, can be a paid member of Volunteer MBC, and then you can get all the benefits of volunteer recruitment services as well as rebated learning and development services. So that's a good segue to introduce our learning services. We have learning programs to volunteers as well as the organizations in the areas of volunteer management, not-for-profit management, and board governance. We are also one of the premier volunteer recognition events that we call the V Oscars, where within the region of Peel, we are one of the multi-organization volunteer recognition events that is held, generally held every April. But because of COVID-19, some of you may have experienced that the dates are pushed a little bit beyond April. But to all our member organizations, all volunteers, the impact that they make is tremendous and exemplary. But to organizations, they can nominate the volunteers who have gone above and beyond the call of their usual role. We also position ourselves as a collaborator in the community. We provide networking opportunities where we connect agencies, community leaders, businesses, and the residents with each other in the spirit of community service and making a Peel region, Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon, a better place for all of us. In the context of our learning program that we're introducing today, the web address that you can see on the screen is learn.volunteermbc.org, and our phone number 905-238-2622, and our email address to reach out to us is training@volunteermbc.org. So to introduce the program called BoardWalk, it is essentially aimed at providing experiences in community leadership to newcomers and racialized persons who are willing to take on strategic leadership positions at not-for-profit organizations. The program is ideally focused towards adults, but we've had some high school students who wanted to join and see what becoming a board member is all about. And in the community, we know there are youth-led organizations, so we had open the doors for youth as well to join the program. It is an experiential learning program where we will train volunteers on what it means to be a board member, the roles and the responsibilities. And to the organizations, the benefit is that once we take them through the experiential learning program, I'll explain the flow of the program a little later, but this gives a pool of candidates for you to recruit from who are already trained in and knowing how to, what it means to be a board member, knowing the roles, the responsibilities, and also their fiduciary duties as a board member. So that's the benefit to the individual as well as the organization, but the community at large, what this means is that your boards and the organizations are represented by the diversity and the community that the organization is serving. So it's an inclusive and engaged community overall. To start off as to why we thought the program was necessary, there are a few statistics over here. I'm just going to brush through them. According to the region of field newcomer profiles, the one that's published in 2016, over 50% of the population is 25 to 54 years. To BoardWalk, what this means is that we have a productive group of newcomers, adults, who are able to contribute to organizations on a strategic and a leadership capacity. A little over 60% with higher education because of the immigration trends and how we bring in immigrants to the country. We have a higher percentage of skilled and qualified individuals who are residing in our region. Of course, we have 14% unemployment rate and 54% employment rate. Together, what this means is that we are allowing an opportunity for individuals to become beef up their resumes, to demonstrate or gain leadership skills, and also because of those who are already employed, we are able to bring their perspective, the Canadian perspective, so that everybody together learns as a peer-to-peer learning initiative. And this is all affirmed by the participants. Program is already launched and there are participants who are engaged in the program. And when we ask them, why did you want to be a board member? These are some of the participants, what they have said. But if you really look at it, everybody, almost 90% of them are highlighting that the reason why they want to be a board member is to brush up their leadership skills or to elevate the leadership skills that they already have. But also, we have asked them, what their skill sets are, and they come with highly specialized skill sets. And you can see a diploma in paralegal, IT, risk management, but we also have in the program those who are, from a marketing and promotions background, from the HR background. So there are a lot of skill sets that an organization can leverage by having individuals engaged in the board. But we are not restricting it to the board. You can engage these individuals either in a board member capacity, a committee member capacity, or a strategic leadership position in the organization. So this is what the participants are saying. They want to demonstrate and gain leadership skills, and they come with a highly specialized set of skills which social purpose organizations in field can leverage from. Volunteering on a board, in its essence, is skilled volunteering. They're bringing in their specialized skills and wealth of expertise from a strategic and leadership capacity. Of course, we can engage these same volunteers on an operational capacity, but the preference or the interest of the candidates in our program is to be on a leadership level in an organization on a volunteering capacity. Let me put all of this together in a particular story of a volunteer who walked in through our doors and who's still serving us in our board. Vishal Srivastava, he came into our organization as soon as he arrived in Canada as a newcomer. And then he said, I have IT skills, but I'm also a project manager and I've been involved with a lot of community work. So what we did was, at the time, our referral service was looking for individuals to help volunteers, our clients, to get connected with social purpose organizations, to come in, have a discussion, and see what they are most suited for, and then make those connections. And providing this service was through a new system called the online volunteer referral system that we had just rolled out at that time. And this was an opportunity where Vishal did not suit the profile of a volunteer engagement advisor, but his skill sets would have been was a valuable set of skill sets for us to engage in the referral service unit. So we brought in Vishal, engaged him as a volunteer engagement advisor. He was working with other volunteers from the community who wants to get connected, but at the same time, he was also getting exposed to our system, and his IT skill sets were used to understand on how to make the system better. So as time went by, Vishal became our go-to IT expert in terms of CRM implementation, but also making IT decisions. And we were able to elevate his volunteer position into a board-led committee called the IT Systems Task Force. At that time, it was called the IT Committee. So as a committee member, he was now serving on an advisory capacity. Then by understanding his leadership skills, we had offered him the position to be a director on our board. And then for this fiscal year, now he's serving as the board secretary. So he came in through an operational capacity with his set of skills, and he moved through the roles and the requirements in the organization, and is now serving as a board member. Now, this is the benefit that Volunteer MBC gained. But when we had a conversation with Vishal, he said that being part of Volunteer MBC's these individual roles at different stages of his engagement with us, he was able to gain more leadership skills, confidence in how to move in the community, and then on how to sort of plan out his career and his life as part of as a resident of a field region. Today, in his professional capacity, he is serving as the director of product management and services of Alpha Vima Technologies. So what BoardWalk, the program, does is it brings a lot of elements together. It brings in the productive and skilled volunteers. It fosters inclusion by opening opportunities to newcomer and racialized communities. All our board-related program is open to anyone, but with this program, our target audience is newcomers and racialized communities. It gives opportunities for them, as I said, to demonstrate and enhance their leadership skills. And it's bringing our learning and development service, making it affordable to the social purpose organizations. Ideally, if you are to bring board governance related learning to your organization, it's a fee for service. And with this, because the program is funded, now we are able to create a candidate pool so that you can recruit from this candidate pool who's already trained on the essentials of becoming a board member. And it's bringing our learning service. And at the end, my colleague Sean will explain on how the referral service is connected, where we bring the two services, our learning service and our referral service, together to create that experiential learning opportunity for the participants in our program. And on their graduation, they become candidates for you to recruit from. The program objectives is to impart the insights on the roles and responsibilities of a board member who provides strategic direction. That it goes deep into helping them understand what their fiduciary duties are. Then fostering diversity in not-for-profit organizations and their boards. In other words, helping organizations to represent the community that they serve. Experiencing an actual not-for-profit board in action. In our learning program, I will show you how it all works out. We will provide them an opportunity to witness an actual board meeting in action, so they know how decision making is, carried and aligned to the strategic plan of the organization. And to connecting participants through our referral service to meaningful board and committee volunteer positions. This is the program flow. A program launched on the 13th of this month, 13th of September. They are going through, they had been through an e-learning module called the Not-for-Profit Board Essentials. It talks of strategic planning, their roles and responsibilities, the structures, policies, and bylaws on a high level essentials, level learning module, pardon me. And during this month and up to December, we are our board have given us the opportunity to provide an observational opportunity for the participants so that they can see how the board meeting is run, and we guide them to sort of capture on the parliamentary procedures, how certain decisions are made. Some decisions may be on a vote basis, some decisions may be on a consensus basis, how the risk management of the organization is looked into, how budgets and financial reports may be sort of digested by the board in terms of understanding the organization's financial strength. So all of these things that a board is doing in terms of making decisions for the sustainability and the governance of the organization, they get the opportunity to view that of an actual live board meeting. And also during the same time, we will have the advanced modules where we are talking about leadership per se, and not only about good governance, but what it means to lead a community service organization as part of a board, talking about strategic foresight, then going a little bit deep into understanding and reading financial reports, and few other high-level programs that a board member can really benefit from as being part of a board. In January, the entire month is when we ramp up our referral service, where we will speak to the individual participants and figure out what they want as part of their volunteer experience, and what type of organization they want to be connected with in terms of becoming a board member. Then looking into our member organizations and seeing whether there's an ideal match. We try to make a perfect match, but what we promise is an ideal match between what the participant wants and what the organization wants. On the 17th of January is the actual graduation date, but our referral service does not stop because they graduated on 17th of January. January to March, we will help them get connected with a volunteer board member position, a committee position, or a strategic leadership position on a volunteering capacity. Now, how this helps them is, and also to give you a taste of what sort of information is shared in our learning programs. For example, in our programs, we will be talking about the succession planning cycle and why it's important, and how all good not-for-profit organizations and strong boards apply the succession planning cycle, even inside within the board itself. So to them, to the participants, what this means is that they know that they will get a professional or a personal development sort of opportunity by being part of a board. They're giving off their wealth of experience and their expertise, but at the same time, they're taken through leadership training. But also to the boards, what this means is that their board has a very healthy turnaround. And what I mean by that is that the terms are concluded as per schedule, and new members are available for the board to bring into those leadership roles in the board itself. Now, if you look at the three key stakeholders of this program, you have, of course, Volunteer MBC on the left-hand side of the triangle, the newcomers and the racialized communities, and also the social purpose organizations, the not-for-profits and charities in the region of Peel. Now, what I've been mentioning is that we provide the learning to the newcomers, and then moving on to the right-hand side, once the learning is done, then the organizations can recruit from this candidate pool. But also, we like to work with the organizations to help promote the program to their clientele. If you're from an organization that is serving maybe the newcomer population or marginalized groups, bring our program to them and share the benefits of the program with them. Until the 10th of October, we still recruit participants. Right now, we have over 100 participants who are already engaged in the program, but we like to add in more so that at least between 60 to 100 participants can be connected with your organization. We also make a humble request, and we invite collaborations where if you can provide our participants with an opportunity to witness your board meetings in action, that is giving them that experiential learning opportunity in your organization. Now, the reason why we make it a request because we understand board meetings are business meetings. Sensitive information to the organization may be discussed. So we leave it open to you to see whether you can provide us that opportunity. And then again, at the end of the program, to look to us and to reach out to us so that you can recruit candidates from our participant pool. So over here, what I've up to now, what I've done is I've sort of explained why the BoardWalk program is important in the community and the technicalities of the program, you know, how the program is run and how we engage with the participants. I'd like to hand the session over to my colleague Sean, who will speak to you a little bit about how you can connect with us through the program and leverage the program to make your organization's board a little bit stronger. Sean, over to you.
Thank you, Shaminda. This is really helpful. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sean Abbasi. I'm the Manager of Community Engagement for Volunteer MBC. I'm really thankful for everyone being here today. I'm going to speak briefly toward some of the practicalities of what we're doing and a little bit about how your organizations can be involved. Now, Shaminda spoke a little bit about those different ways of collaborating with us, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So first of all, discussing a little bit about promoting the program. So one of the things that Shaminda just mentioned is that we are seeking more people to participate in the program. We know that this program will be only as effective as it is that we have, you know, the people participating in it, benefiting from the learning, and ultimately being available to be matched and recruited to organizations that really need their skills. So I think that you know, anything that each of our organizations can do to reach the community and let diverse or skilled potential volunteers participate in the program will be to our benefit, and everyone can kind of collectively win from that. So we definitely have some participant flyers and social media posts that we can share with you for you to share through your own networks. If you have clients and programs that you think that would be suited for this program, to be able to share with them and tell them about the program. Even if you know other organizations that could be connected, that will be very valuable for us. So this session, you know, is recorded. We'd be happy to, you know, share that with other organizations as well. So if you're not with an organization yourself, or you think that there's another organization that occurs to you that they should be kind of getting connected to this program, then please share that with us, and we'd be happy to provide them with some promotional material for that purpose. We also welcome opportunities to get in front of your clients and present and talk to them. We're always kind of doing community outreach, telling the community about how they can volunteer, how they can get involved, but it's very important that we allow the community to play an increased role and get a chance to know how they can make a difference in their own communities. Often I think one of the challenges that the community faces is they want to help out, but they don't necessarily know how to get involved. So that's where their local volunteer center comes in. So we'd love to be able to tell them about this program. You may have clients from programs that might be suited to some of our other programs and services as operational volunteers, but we definitely want to speak to them about it and create that doorway for them to get an understanding of what's going on in our local not-for-profit sector, what are some of the opportunities, how can they make a difference. It's a very challenging time for organizations, and so being able to make sure the community is informed as well is really important, because although sometimes the opportunities are not always there or the access is limited, it's very important that we try to ensure that the community has a better understanding of what we're facing, to demystify the not-for-profit sector, which is often, you know, close by to us, but yet still unknown to so many of us. And then we welcome opportunities to talk to your existing board about the project. If you have a board of directors, volunteer-led, and you know, if some of you may be a board member, but if you're not, and you think that you would rather just have us talk directly to a board member or come in front of your board, we'd be happy to do that, to provide those boards with some awareness of what strategies we're doing. Often, you know, boards can be very transient. people after their terms end, or lots of changes take place. And so for the boards to really understand what kinds of resources are at their disposal to be able to recruit effectively, sometimes that doesn't happen. Some organizations know us for volunteer recruitment, but it only happens at an operational level. And so getting in front of your boards would be really beneficial for us. So these are 3 things that kind of I highlighted, but there are definitely more ways in which you can help us promote the program. If you do have committees, or you're thinking of designing committees, or you are trying to problem solve around how to make your boards or committees more effective, you can also reach out to us, and we'd be happy to work with you on that. So that's the first thing. Shaminda, could you go to the next slide?
I have given you control, Sean.
Oh, okay, great. Just a second. All right, I think you should be seeing my slides here. So now, as far as recognizing your organization, so when it comes down to it, it's one thing for organizations to try to say that they're inclusive, and most organizations will say that, but what measures are we taking to really be inclusive, right? And so this is a very important question that we have to kind of think about all the time. But by participating in the program, that would demonstrate, some kind of action on the part of organizations to take a concrete step toward becoming more inclusive and working strategically around accessing the resources of the community and opening up the ultimate question of how do you get people at the table who may not already have access to being at the table, to have a voice in their community. So for that reason, we want to be able to recognize your organizations as you participate in it. So from our community development side, we're always looking at how we can get organizations to be more visible in the community. It's something that is challenging because a lot of the good ways that organizations used to kind of get the word out of what they're doing, some ways are more limited. And definitely, unless organizations are getting very adept individually at kind of talking about themselves on social media, it can be very challenging with the fact that people are competing for attention often, and their attention is divided, and you need to get your message across. So we want to tell people about your organization's participating in this program and what it means to us and what it can mean for the community. So if you're able to generate one or more board or committee positions through BoardWalk, so meaning you're able to connect with us and say, yeah, we have a position, we're going to be able to post it on our volunteer referral system, which I'll discuss in a moment. And then we'll definitely flag that position with a badge to indicate that it's a position related to the BoardWalk program. So that way we can be able to highlight some of the organizations and how they are participating and creating that. And it'll also be a good way for people to find those positions easily. Also, if you recruit 3 or more committee members through BoardWalk, we'd like to be able to give you a certificate of recognition for inclusion to your organization. That's something that is just our way of kind of, again, identifying that you're an organization that is putting an emphasis on inclusion and taking some concrete action on that front. And it'll definitely make it straightforward for us to say, okay, this organization has really placed some emphasis on this, and people are getting connected. And of course, if you recruit a board member, that's a senior leadership role at the organization. We would love to be able to provide a certificate of recognition for inclusion, as well as give you the option of, can we write a bit of an article about your organization with highlighting a little bit about what your board does, and feature that on social media. So we'd love to be able to tell more of the story of what organizations are doing, and how board members are playing a critical part in shaping our community. And then we talk about experiential learning. So one of the things that we really emphasize in this program is the opportunity to learn through firsthand experience. And aside from matching people or recruiting people into organizations, we thought what if we could create more observer opportunities as well? So a little bit of a lower threshold, both for the volunteer and for the organization, because then allows for that volunteer to take a chance at trying to see different organizations, how they work, what takes place, what types of matters are they dealing with in a confidential and non-intrusive way, but to participate as an observer. So if you do, in fact, have opportunities where you're saying, okay, our committee or our board is going to be having a meeting and they're open to having somebody come in as an observer through this program, then we'll encourage those participants to write a bit of a testimonial. What was their experience like, and what is it? What have they learned? What's the insight have they gained about the organization? That is positive, so that you have that as well. And that can be useful and can give you some insight as well from a third party on what exactly is an experience of that committee or board like for these observers, and that learning will be very beneficial for us in the long run as well. And then all of the participating organizations, however level you get involved, we want to be able to showcase you on a bit of an index on our webpage where we show organizations that participated in this program. So just in kind of encapsulating this piece about recognition, there are a lot of ways we can recognize organizations, and that we do recognize organizations that are not limited to what's seen here. We've just put down some concrete things that we will do. We're happy to do more than that, or work with organizations to get them to be more visible, especially around how people can play a leadership role at their organization. One of the things that I find is challenging is that when it comes to sort of engaging people in leadership in general and trying to create those roles, people know this is a time-consuming effort. Creating dedicated volunteer positions or building committees or building effective boards, they're not easy things to do. So, nobody necessarily wants to promise things right up front and say, okay, we can do this or we can do that. People are very hesitant. There's a general instinctive hesitation that kind of goes into this, which is that, yeah, we would want to do it, or maybe we agree with the spirit of this, but the logistics are very challenging, or maybe they seem insurmountable sometimes to figure out how can we make this work, or how can I get the buy-in from the right people to make it happen. So that's a normal instinct. So definitely we have to all kind of face that instinct and think about, okay, what could we actually do, or what could change in order to make it more possible for our positions to be more accessible, for us to be more flexible in how we recruit or have earmarked positions, to ensure that people who are really committed join. And I think the dividends through this program will be there, because you'll get a quality of persons who have taken interest in this program, who are engaged with learning, who how are kind of understanding how board dynamics work and how committees what they do to drive a nonprofit mission forward, and that's likely to produce a much better result in the end. I want to comment a little bit about our recruitment process. So aside from how we recognize organizations, we, as Shaminda mentioned, run an online volunteer referral system. So organizations come to us, they can sign up, and when they go through the sign-up process, we can help them craft and design their positions, which they can post themselves, and you're able to view applicants to your positions and eventually contact them. You have that ability to update your positions, publish them and unpublish them when they're no longer when you don't have them open anymore. So it's a very flexible system. Works a lot like some of the job boards that are out there, but we're always making enhancements on that. So really, as a driving point for people to volunteer, the online volunteer referral system that we offer is great. At the end of this, I'll give you a link to our survey. So if you are interested in going forward or want to give us some input, the survey will kind of collect some details from you so that we can then contact you and help you with that onboarding process to actually begin drafting your positions. So I'll speak more about that toward the end. So I'd like to offer an opportunity for us to have a little bit of discussion. I am open to questions. We'll definitely take some questions as well at the end here, but let's discuss just in general what is happening at our boards and our committees. So consider your board or one of your strategic committees if you've got one. If you don't have one, or you're not necessarily directly working with one organization right now, think of one that might be close to you, and ask the question to yourself: how well is it currently reflecting the diversity of the community? Who is and who isn't at the table? Has diversity been increasing, decreasing, or staying the same within this board or committee over the years? And then what makes, aside from being diverse, what makes that group, that committee or board more equitable or inclusive, right? And if you want some reminders about the definitions or differences between diversity, equity, inclusion, diversity is the composition. Equity refers to overcoming barriers or removing barriers that certain marginalized or groups can face if they're seeking equity-seeking groups. And then inclusion is about how we can take proactive steps to move, not just make things equitable, but to really make it so that people are welcome at organizations and finding spaces to be positive spaces where they want to be. So any comments on this first question? Anybody want to share what they think about a board committee that they're working with, or others that they've seen in Peel in terms of how they're reflecting the diversity of the community?
Folks, you can type into the chat box, or you can open your camera or mic and speak to us directly as well.
So this is Kevin here. So the board that I sit on, we've signed up for the Canada 50-30 challenge to reflect equity and inclusivity and have that EDI perspective. So that's one of the reasons I'm here, to see that.
Kevin, we lost you for.
Oh, sorry. So that's one of the reasons I'm here. I wanted to see what the BoardWalk program is going to look like, and see where this program can help us and support us in meeting those commitments.
Okay, that's great, Kevin. So yeah, that's one, definitely one of the major initiatives that's out there around encouraging, more representation. I think there are a few, and so one of the questions that we get asked is twofold. One is like, okay, so yeah, I believe in diversity on boards, but then why through this program, or why now? So with Volunteer MBC, we're putting a little bit of, we put that focus on Peel region, what's happening locally, touch points with our community. And then I think the other thing is simply that we have a big focus in this program on the learning that people can get. So it's not just, hey, we're recruiting diverse communities, but we're also getting skilled volunteers into it. So it's great to see that your organization is taking on that challenge, because that I think is a really good step. And every organization that kind of sets a goal is more likely to then take some positive action toward it. So that's really great. And then if anyone else is participating in a challenge like that, or has a goal for what they want to see happen with their boards or committees in the near future, I'd be happy to hear about that too. Anyone else want to share? Comment here from James. My board last night adopted a new DEI policy. We are 10 years old, but still very lacking in diversity. And the next steps will be looking to be more proactive on implementation. The work of this program sounds very applicable to us. Okay, thanks, James. Yeah, so one of the things about Peel region, it's funny, is that we're very diverse. I mean, we know we have a very diverse population in Peel, right? So we have population where more than half of people are immigrants or racialized groups, and you think that, okay, we recruit here will, by default, should become diverse. But that doesn't happen. And there are reasons why that doesn't happen that are, deeply systemic. So, it's great that updating one's policies is really critical to that. A lot of our training, Shimina can speak to it. We have the training that's built into the BoardWalk program, and there's also customized training we do with organizations. Speaks to policy and speaks to how that takes shape. But the DEI policy is one thing where it's not enough to just have the policy. You have to keep it up to date, and you have to be constantly evaluating whether or not your policy is effective in terms of bringing in the change that you want. So I think it's very important that you be able to kind of state straightforwardly, we are lacking in diversity. Some organizations are like, yeah, we're lacking diversity, or it could be more diverse, but we have the right things, but maybe not facing the fact that that if it's a lack, then it's a lack, and it's only going to be addressed by looking for different measures that we can take. And I think, yep.
Adding to your response to James, and also bouncing off your statement that why BoardWalk. Sometimes the lack of diversity on boards does not mean that there's negligence by the organization or the board to include diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, this is where BoardWalk really comes to help, because there are times where organizations do post and they're open to recruiting candidates from all walks of life, whatever their intersecting diversities are. But the members of the community, especially newcomers, may not know that, as a newcomer, that they're able to participate in a board. So we are trying to bridge this gap and bring both worlds together, where we're trying to help the organizations to recruit with diversity in mind, and also, increasing the traffic of newcomers and racialized communities to consider, I can be a board member, so that because the skill sets that they come with is a wealth of expertise that we can leverage. Sometimes they feel I'm starting from scratch. I always say you are not. You are starting from where you are in the context of Canada and the Peel region. Here's the training and here's our guidance. Now you can, with that, you can be part of a not-for-profit board. So it's not only lack of diversity because of negligence of fostering inclusion, but it's also that people knowing, can be sort of a situation. So we're trying to sort of mitigate this as well.
That's a great point. I just want to quickly just a reminder, this program is a pilot program. So we're going to learn things in this time that's going to allow us to work with your organizations to go, oh, okay, this is what organizations need in order to kind of overcome some of those challenges that are faced with making the boards more diverse. So that comes to my second question, which is what's required to make leadership at Peel organizations more diverse and inclusive? What has prevented this from happening already? So Shamin is identifying, there's the issue of one common barrier, which is the knowledge barrier, the barrier that a lot of newcomers may face. They don't know what they need to do in order to serve on a board. They may not feel necessarily that those spaces are meant for them, and that's something that we have to work toward changing. But there could be other ones, and if anyone has any comments on what they think might be reasons why leadership at Peel organizations could use some serious improvement in terms of its diversity and inclusion, what might that be? And Linda has commented the time barrier. Linda, do you want to add to that, or are you speaking to just general time poverty that everybody has?
Sorry, I'm just Shan. I'm just speaking to. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm just speaking to more of what we have determined. It's just been more challenging as the years go by, the pandemic notwithstanding, to recruit the type of leadership volunteer. We seemingly have not such a problem recruiting episodic volunteers or volunteers for front-facing or non-leadership positions. But when we get into the nitty-gritty of policy making, of due diligence on finances, again, it may be in combination with people feel that they don't have the knowledge to do it justice. But we do find when we ask for a commitment of time, and especially for years at a time, that tends to have people shy away from the prospect of sitting on our board.
You're right. I think I hear that often, in the sense that the longer term commitment, people get scared away. They see it on paper. They, certain types of people will apply for those positions, but even then they get started, and then often there's quick turnover because they realize all of a sudden, actually, I changed my mind, or something came up, and they may not tell you, I don't feel like doing this anymore. They may have a different reason for why they can't do it. As how life changes and so forth, but what changed in their priorities that made it so that they didn't want to do it. So I think that this is a serious one point that you brought up. I think for us, one of our objectives is to reduce that intimidation from the commitment, reduce that sense of the unknown for the program participants by giving them those observer opportunities, by giving them some preparedness of what they're going to face in terms of board dynamics. So we're hoping that is one way to mitigate it. And I think definitely just getting people doing a solid recruitment phase where you get program participants who are really keen and know this is something that I'm going to consider and open to doing, will hopefully have downstream benefits to the organizations in their recruitment, that they will find, yeah, okay, we recruited from this pool and they were more engaged and more excited to serve our organization. So Shaminda, do you have anything to add to that? No, can't hear you.
Sorry, just a couple, Sean, but you hit it on the head. Like within the program, they've already gone through the e-learning module of board efficiencies, and in that we talk about where the board, as a board member, to be engaged in the organization's performance management and the learning and development initiatives, and to keep up with the commitments. But right at the beginning, we start off saying, when you sign up for a volunteer position, board member or operational, you are making the organization rely on you. So your commitment is necessary because the organization is established to serve an actual need in the community. So we try to motivate and encourage them to sort of make sure that they keep the promises that they make when they sign up. But also in the advanced modules through the leadership program, we drive the same message, but give them the emphasis on as a leader, what is expected of you from any social purpose organization. Because we have no control over the ultimate decision of the candidate to continue or not. Lot of things come into play, the engagement and their motivation to continue with the organization, their personal commitments and personal situations, they all matter. But we are trying to do our due diligence in helping them understand commitment is key, because you're not in an operational capacity that can be filled maybe to another volunteer position. Like it's a leadership position as a term, and you're taking over the organization's governance. So we try to drive that message to the program, to the modules, as well as even in our discussion forum engagement.
Yeah, and it's possible as well that program, not necessarily program participants, but people from different marginalized communities will be facing additional barriers. So the chances they're going to be having to overcome some lack of equity just to kind of be in the stage of the program is there. So it's also up to the organizations too to always be kind of aware of that. If they engage somebody who's a single parent, for example, and is going to have those additional responsibilities, they may know that coming in, but the organization also will have to be kind of mindful of how can we make this work better for that single parent. Maybe it's a case of just making sure people know that, hey, if your child is crying in the background while you're trying to deliver a presentation, that there won't be a negative judgment on you for that, right? Like these are little things that all add up in terms of what real inclusion looks like. Does anyone else want to comment on any of this before I move on? We're just about at the end of our time, but I have one more thing that I wanted to share. Any other additional comments?
Shan, until the comment comes through, there's one more thing that I want to add to the discussion. When you're looking for a board member to fill in a position that you already have, there are two reasons that I see you may need to have a board member. One is to have a board member who is really good at making those inroads into the community, stewarding, connections to the organization, and where you may feel that a person who is an already established professional in the community fits that ideal role. But also, I think, COVID-19, as negative as the situation may be, but it also highlighted that sometimes you need to bring in skilled experts into your board so that certain functions of the organization can be helped through from an advisory capacity. Volunteer MBC, we certainly saw this. We had to move into a complete IT first environment. We had to sort of relook at, because we went into a remote working approach, we had to look into our HR policies and a remote work policy. So board members with those skill sets of HR and IT, they are the ones who came through with their skill sets. Now they may have not necessarily been individuals who are connected to a wide network in the community, but they contributed as a board member through their skill sets to build the organization's capacity.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, people in our community have the skills. It's not a very challenging matter for Volunteer MBC to find people with skills when we get the word out and when we get all our partners coming together. But every organization, faces that question of, it's going to take so much time to make space for somebody. It's going to challenge some of our existing, sometimes it challenges our existing frameworks or how we're used to doing things, business as usual. So, people are just looking at what's in front of them for the next month, 2 months, how to survive. So they get caught up in that. And I think definitely we need to look at all of that in terms of pushing for more inclusion at our organization. And this is what this is about. So thanks for everybody for their comments on that. We'll definitely be keeping this discussion alive. But I do want to share that I'm going to be just posted a comment in the chat with a link to our survey. Very important that you complete the survey for us. Not only will give us some feedback on what you heard today, but also to understand your organization a little better in your context. It's ask questions like about, do you have committees? What's the status of your board? Are they recruiting? Things like that. They're mostly open-ended questions. And then, this could be a good first step for anybody who is interested and wants to participate in the program. Complete the survey, then we'll know, hey, we can reach out to you to keep that conversation going and take you to the next step of, some one-on-one support with getting that board position or committee position drafted, if that's the case, or in terms of those of you who want to have us, meet with your board or meet with program participants to set that up. So completing the survey will be a really great step for that. And we'll be very appreciative of all of your feedback or insight. Please, if you need any assists within your organization to get some of the insights and whatever, feel free to share it. Let us know if you have any difficulty with that, or you see other challenges with regard to being able to participate. That's all something that you can try to give us a quick response in the survey. It would be very much appreciated. So that's all I wanted to add here. Shaminda, any final thoughts? Oh, audio.
Story of my life. Nothing more to add, but just to encourage everyone to consider the BoardWalk program. Help us come in front of your clientele if they can benefit, if you feel they can benefit from the program. Give us that opportunity to engage them in an observational capacity that helps the participant, but also it helps your organization, because sometimes that may entice a participant to look at your organization when you ultimately, which is the third request, when you post and recruit a volunteer board member from our BoardWalk program. As you see, we created the program so that it is a win-win for the residents, individuals who want to volunteer and become a board member, to your organization, but also the regional field community at large, to foster inclusive and equitable organizations as while we all address the most pressing social issues in the community.
Thanks, Shaminda. Thanks everyone for attending. We'll send out the survey link along with the recording of this session so that you can definitely share it within your organization. Thank you so much for your participation and have a great rest of your day.